Many people ask me, KM, what is your favorite deck in Pokemon Pocket? And frankly, I have been lying every time I have been asked because I have been embarrassed of the truth, but I am here to say that this is my favorite deck in Pokemon Pocket. That's right. It's 18 Trainer Articuno, and I realize that it's not technically 18 Trainer Articuno, but it might as well be. I have loved this deck ever since I started playing Pokemon Pocket. The first piece of Pokemon Pocket content I ever saw was Willow, who I knew from Marvel Snap, talking about how he really hoped that these kind of 18 trainer decks were not good, because if they were good, it would be a massively warping thing. And luckily for most people who aren't crazy, they're not as good as you would expect them to be. I think most competitive players generally regard the Starmie version of the Articuno Misty deck as superior to the 18 trainer list, no matter what it is you do with those spots. Now, I think a lot of that is because that many people are playing 18 trainer Articuno wrong. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of how they're playing it, but I mean in terms of deck building. And I haven't really gone out on a lot of limbs on this channel. A lot of what I've been doing is reporting on things that have won tournaments. And so this is going to be the first time where I'm really going out here and saying, I think that this is the right way to build a deck, and I don't know if anyone else is really doing it like that. And what I mean by that is the inclusion of Omanyte and no Omastar in the Articuno 18 trainer build. Now let's talk about Articuno 18 trainers and why I like Omanyte and why I don't like Omastar. But before we get into the specifics of the build, let's talk about the general strategy here. Genuinely, this is kind of the easiest deck in the entire world to play. The reason the 18 trainer strategy works is because Pokemon Pocket guarantees you a basic Pokemon in the opening hand. You are guaranteed to start with Articuno in your opening hand. That is unbelievably powerful as a baseline thing. This is an extremely strong Pokemon that has a lot of ability to be an excellent carrier for the extra energy from the card Misty. Even one energy can allow this Pokemon alone to take over a game. And the consistency of always having it in your opener is enough to make this deck actually pretty good. While I will admit that I think at a tournament level, it is much more likely that Starmie Articuno ends up being the superior option, there is something genuinely charming and fun about doing the same thing every game and just really investing in this one specific card. And a lot of why I like playing this deck is because, yes, there are these like big, fast, free wins off of Misty, but a lot of the time you're playing with a little bit less than what your opponents actually have access to. The deck is very on rails. Everyone knows what you're trying to do to them, and so things like winning games where you're just going second, your Misties all fail, I find that really rewarding. I enjoy playing this deck a lot. And I think generally speaking, I'm the kind of player who's gonna like doing things like this, but I also think that this deck is genuinely underrated, and I think that the way I am building it, as weird and wrong as it looks, is actually correct. One of the major issues with the 18 trainer archetype is that there aren't 18 good trainers. You're often going to end up playing cards that aren't very impactful or are even net negative in terms of cards. Hand Scope and Pokédex are just not cards that any other deck plays for a good reason, because they're not actually worth playing if you can do literally anything else. Even a card like Giovanni isn't particularly relevant in this deck because this deck is doing so much of the same thing over and over. The breakpoints almost don't necessarily matter. All you want to do is get ahead and snowball and stay ahead. And so what I've done with this list is started running Helix Fossil and just Omanyte. And the reason for this is mostly retreat costs, but also it kind of starts actually stretching your space if you want to get Omastar into the deck. Right now, we just get to cut the Giovanni's and the one of whatever other card people were playing in this list when it was 18 trainers. That would be Hand Scope or Pokédex. And in exchange, we get Helix Fossil, which is actually quite useful against various Sabrina decks. It can even stall if you really need it to. And Omanyte, which is a 90 HP Pokemon that retreats for 1, which gives us a great place to use our X speeds, and attacks for 40 with 1 water energy. Why does this matter? It's because it's about the relative upgrade over the trainers that were normally in this deck. Helix Fossil is not actually a basic Pokemon. This means you're effectively cheating the system. You always start with Articuno, but you actually still have the ability to run Pokemon. And what this deck wants is not a massive Omastar. It doesn't want something else that requires 3 energy to be functional. It wants a card that can go in, soak an attack, get out with an X speed, and actually give you time to build up your Articuno in the matchups where that matters, and that needs to happen. X speed is extremely, extremely useful in this deck, mostly because of Omanyte Omastar. And it also gives you a real way to, I said Omastar there, sorry, to play around the cards like Sabrina that can generally give you trouble if you're using your X speeds in order to sort of rotate Articunos in and out, which can happen. Basically, what this card does is allow you to maintain a little bit of Pokemon density while not costing you the fundamental advantages of being an 18 trainer deck. So why are we not playing Omastar? Well, to be honest with you, this is actually kind of the really embarrassing part about this. When I first put this deck together, I really wanted to play Omastar. I was like, oh man, this is going to be so cool. So I crafted 2 Omastars using pack points. And the more I played them, the more I realized I didn't like them. I don't like that it costs 3 to make this card actually do anything. I don't like that it costs 2 to retreat it. What I actually liked was just Omanyte, and then Omastar was just sitting in my hand. And if it was actually purely free, I think that would be fine. But at a certain point, trying to include this card actually does start costing you useful trainers. It's very easy to look at Hand Scope and Pokédex and say, those don't matter and I don't care about losing them. It is a little harder to look at Giovanni and say that. I still feel comfortable doing it, if only because of how this deck very often plays out, but I can understand why people wouldn't. It is basically impossible to look at stuff like Pokeball, X-Speed, Professor's Research, and say that. It's very, very difficult. There is something to be said for maybe trying 1 instead of Pokeball, because your basic Pokeballs are just not very useful a lot of the time. You're only really going to ever get the Articuno. You could talk me into doing that. I could be convinced. But I will tell you, as someone who spent resources on these, they weren't good, and Omanyte was. You just literally want, like, your bad Rapidash. That's all this deck actually wants, is like a bad Rapidash instead of running Hand Scope. That's really the only thing that I think people are missing about this, is because it's so non-intuitive to not run the 3rd stage evolution, or 2nd stage evolution of a card like this. I genuinely just think it doesn't actually help you in any real way. To sum up, this deck is played by utilizing energy advantages with Articuno. You can create those energy advantages with Misty or simply by going second. Once Articuno starts blizzarding a lot, it is a very difficult Pokemon to deal with. And of course, you also have your second Articuno in the back line building up energy. The Fossil line is here mostly because Hand Scope sucks and Pokédex also sucks. These are cards that I think are generally alright, and not necessarily amazingly good, but significantly better than cards that literally do nothing. These are reasonable inclusions, even though they won't be relevant in a lot of games, because neither would Hand Scope and Pokédex. That's just how it is. You'll also note that I'm running 2 red cards instead of Giovanni. And I realize that that's a very odd thing to do, but I think one of the competitive advantages that this deck actually gets is the ability to run 2 red cards and just fire them off whenever. Every deck has spots at which a red card would be good. Most decks cannot afford to actually fit them into the list. I realize there are going to be people watching who are like, dude, red card is exactly the same as hand scope and Pokédex. Why are you even bothering? And I personally don't believe that to be true. There are a lot of things where it's like, okay, if my opponent has this second stage evolution, I will immediately lose. I'm going to red card to try to make them actually have to roll or draw to see if they actually get it. Stuff like that gives you outs in situations where you would otherwise have absolutely zero outs. And I do think that one of the things this deck does well is disrupting your opponent with red card. And because you are such a limited deck in terms of actual output, dragging your opponent down to your level actually does end up being quite important, in my opinion. That said, if you want to run the Giovannis, I would actually have no necessary issues with that. I think it's wrong, but I totally understand looking at Pokédex and Hand Scope and saying, well, red card sucks too, get rid of that. I wouldn't, but I understand. So yeah, that's my confession. This is actually my favorite deck in Pokemon Pocket. It's not the most dynamic and interesting deck. It's not the most incredible, unique, odd thing, but like I just enjoy that it like messes with the fundamental mechanics of the game. It's something that is trying to take advantage to the fullest extent of the fundamental mechanic of Pokemon Pocket. I think that's cool. I enjoy playing it. I like games that are just like super fast and intense, and this deck is excellent at creating games that are super fast and intense. It's a very fun deck to play, and in my opinion, I really do think that the Omanyte no Omastar stuff is good. I truly believe that. So let me know in the comments what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I would like to take a just quick little moment right here to say thank you, because this channel just got monetized on YouTube, which is so much faster than I ever thought possible. I truly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for your support, and here's to many more weeks and months and maybe years of doing this. I'm very happy with what's happened so far, and I'm very grateful to you all for allowing that to happen. As always, I've been KM Pocket, aka KM Best, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's get into the gameplay. And real. Ugh, this hand sucks. Oh boy, we're not drawing cards or doing anything. And we're going first. Okay, we are drawing cards now. Our Pokeballs now do literally nothing. It's the promo cards are the only one copy, let you flare them for just dust. Oh, dude, that's awesome, actually. I have so much dust. It's actually so sick. Is it worth save like a whole month of pack opening to get an EX card? What do you mean? How would the mechanics of what you're describing work? I'm confused. The two potions in my hand make me want to try to invest in the frontline one here. But I think more than that, first wishlist the ES, then you can decide to trade the fourth. Wait, what are you talking about? Does wishlist affect pack openings? That doesn't sound right. Wishlist affects Wonder Trade? Really? I should be using the wishlist then. I'm assuming you mean the, not Wonder Trade, but like the other thing. Yeah, I don't even know what the wish list is. Whose wish list must you get? I need a wish list full art Giovanni, dude. I want that card so bad. I'm so dead. Wishlist caps at 4 diamond? Oh, no wonder I don't know about it. I'm too rich. It's just that I'm too rich. That's what it is. I've got too much. I've got it like that too hard. Please don't Koga me. All right, they didn't Koga me, so I'm going to make a very greedy play. This is an insanely greedy play. But they did not Koga me, and they can't get that wheezing out easily without a Koga. And if they had the Koga last turn, they instantly kill me with that Arbok. So I'm just saying, I don't think you have it. Okay. They don't have it! We're popping off. Like, unironically, this is as good as things get for us right here. Are you ready for this? So we go here, we X-speed this out, we don't even lose the poisoned Articuno EX? Unbelievable gaming here. I'm pretty tempted to red card them right now. Because, like, when you think about what could be in their hand, it's like Giovanni Sabrina type shit, right? Which I actually can play around, so I won't red card them. You're crazy? Crazy like a fox. That worked. That actually worked. I want you to know that. I'm as shocked as anyone else, but that actually did work. And our Omanyte here is letting us play around their Sabrina, which would otherwise resummon this guy out to die. They hit us with the corner, we hit them with the blizzard. As one does, yeah? Irrelevant, but worth coin flipping on. All right, I've got a plan. I don't know if it works. Are you ready for my plan, chat? Because what I'm thinking right now is I'm going to Sabrina into something else here with this Arbok and then kill it over 2 turns of Blizzard. But that loses so hard to a potion that it makes me scared. It makes me very scared. I corner this. If I go here, hit a Sabrina now. I think this works. I want to keep them off of evolutions, basically. Okay, they have this one here, and then we're just going to have to use the second one. But this is really important because they send out the coughing, which means they cannot evolve into wheezing ever again. I red card, hopefully giving them, like, some garbage. Like, they definitely have that second Arbok in hand, and they're counting on it, right? We Blizzard here. If they have the Arbok, they evolve into the Arbok, which has 90, so they think they're safe. Then we Sabrina something else out. That works only, and that's even if they have this. Like, even if they have the potion here. We get to send in that 10 on the Articuno EX, the 10 HP Articuno EX, and hopefully take it home. I don't know what Great Ball means, is, or does, but I doubt it needs more cards that go in every deck. Personally, I think that's what the game does not need. Okay, so they evolve to Arbok here, and then they need a potion, but if they don't have the potion, they lose. If they do have the potion, we Sabrina them. So I think this should 100% them. I think this should 100%. I guess it's irrelevant. They decided they were just gonna let it happen. Omanyte, that entire game, was preventing us from getting Sabrina'd in a meaningful way. And that's just awesome. Omanyte, that entire game, was cooking. Was he actually doing anything? Technically, he did nothing, but in terms of the meta context of that game, he prevented us from dying horrifically the entire game. We hate all of this, actually. Going first, no Sabrina. We do like seeing that. It means they don't have a Moltres EX. Pokeball first to get Articuno EX out, because otherwise the Pokeball does nothing. You're great at explaining your thoughts and reasoning, always have been. I appreciate that. Kind of a crummy hand. We're just trying to draw a Misty, you know? Now, we like seeing the Charmander because they don't like opening Charmander. They want to have Moltres EX. Even Arcanine is better. Charmander is basically the worst thing they can have at the beginning. They have good ways of getting out of it with, like, X speed, Moltres EX type things, which are bad for us. I think I'm going to fire this for value. Just put one card back in their deck. It's a pretty good reason to like Exeggutor. Yeah, I like Exeggutor because it is just a good Pokemon when I'm going first. It's very hard. Do you have a favorite meta deck? God, that's a really good question. Probably Pikachu EX, but I don't play it much on stream at all because it is such a known quantity. I might play some Pika EX today. Because this is a dedicated, you know, pocket stream. All right. Shirley. Shit. Just one would have mattered so much. Just one would have mattered so much. It would have put their Moltres on a huge clock. As is. Ugh. Ugh. The Moltres would have been on would have been on a 2-turn clock. As is, it's on a 3, and that's just not fast enough for us, unfortunately. The Charizard just shows up and beats our shit. Jesus! You tried Greninja Flareon? No, I didn't. I have not tried Greninja Flareon. Okay. Okay. I do like that they do not seem to have the Charizard. That mostly makes me happy. Well, I guess that's the comeuppance they get, I suppose. Blizzard. Mm-hmm. They send an Arcanine EX, but they are currently, as I understand it, dead to our Sabrina. As I understand it, they are dead to our Sabrina right now. They are, in fact, dead to our Sabrina right now. Thank you, Moltres EX being worth 2. No thanks to Misty. All thanks to Sabrina. There we go. There we go. If anyone knows, I'd be happy to accept any help. Ooh, this hand is super bad. I do like that I'm going second. Oh! We hit our counter. We hit our counter. It's all over. It's ogre for me. It's all ogre now. Okay, this is like a sick, nasty red card. That's like -3 cards. I don't know how it could be that bad. I think I have to start building up the backline one. Oh, God. How did we help them with that red card? Life is so painful. I mean, they have no cards in hand. Yeah, the non-EX Canto birds are definitely bad. God. Oh, God. All right. All right. Get it out of here again. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Surge is not real. But also, if it was, it would probably be a bad play. What they need is an X speed. That's not an X speed. That's a manual retreat into the pack. Which means I get at least one more Blizzard off here. Which is really all I actually need to happen. Because this gives me one more turn. And the Raichu is at 20 HP. Fair enough. Figured I should do it now. But best I can do. Best I can do. Yeah, effectively charging them for the retreat is the best I can, is what I have to offer here, unfortunately. And it worked. We got there. We win now. Because we lose this, we send out our second Articuno EX, and we get him. I mean, like, that is an example, like, that, those were all just straight up tempo Sabrinas. Going first. What a hand. Like Chinchilla? Cinchino? So I had it right. Chinchino. Intriguing. Ah. Well, a Misty would do me well here. Oh, wow. This Pokeball gets nothing. Oh, wow. My hand is not cards. Yeah, I have 3 Crown Rares and 2 Full Art Trainers, or maybe 3 Full Art Trainers. No, I have 2 Full Art Trainers, I think. I also have more immersive Mewtwo's than I do Full Art Trainers. Why did I not Pokeball there? I literally do not have another basic in the deck. I mean, I can. It would, like, play around their red card. It's like, you know, whatever, I guess, right? Ugh. I doubt they would red card me anyway. And if I'm not mistaken, this version of the deck has to be pretty light on them. Like, frankly, if they red card me, it is probably with a hand like this actively helpful. You know what I mean? Looking at my current hand, if they red card me, that is almost objectively good. Yeah. Yeah, I think I just want them to red card me at this point. I would like them to red card me. It would be nice. I'm not red carding them because they appear to be missing a Charmeleon. Pokédex, the Pokemon. I think that the big reason to play fossils in 18 Trainer is because you don't have to play garbage like Pokédex. Is trading a feature they're adding? I believe so. If you think trading is going to be locked by the special ticket, that seems crazy. That seems potentially downright evil. So this is an interesting spot for them. Like, what are they supposed to do here? What is their... what should they be doing? They can no longer kill my Articuno EX with their Moltres EX. They are still stuck on Charmeleon because red card is busted. And... like, do they Inferno Dance here to try to put stuff on their Moltres EX? No. Okay, interesting. Really interesting call from opponent there. Kind of a fascinating one. Okay, see, now we're going to use our Pokeballs on absolutely nothing. With a Sabrina, that's really good. Okay. Now we don't want to be red card. Blizzard, and then if they send in the Charmander and still are stuck on Charmeleon, they will lose to the backup Articuno. Send in the Moltres. We will not die this turn, and we can Sabrina something out that we will be able to kill. Okay, here's a problem. The problem here is that they can get the Charmeleon, put on Moltres, and then start doing this. That's the problem. They can take their Moltres back now. I think that's the only way they're not 100% dead. It is. So now our play is to red card them away from having Charizard, hopefully. I don't think it's a realistic ask, but it is our play. Or if we draw Misty, we can try to just win the game. Okay, well, that was nice. Gotta love it. Rigged? Absolutely. When, like, I want to be clear, things are only bad when they're rigged against me. I don't understand how people don't get that. I love when things are rigged for me. That's the greatest thing of all time. Why would anyone complain about that? Always draw first. Nice, 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 nice. Articuno, Helix Fossil. It's called being ahead of the meta? Yeah, it is. It is called that, actually. Rolls. Yeah, that's a bit of an ouch. A bit of an ouch here. Love that red card, though. Just love it. Like, they have 5 in hand. I love that. Yep. Where I aim this Misty is, I think, a pretty hard thing to figure out. Because I can aim it at the active one. Oh. This is actually why we like Omanyte in this list. Unironically, this is a great use case for Omanyte. The 1 retreat cost is specifically what I'm talking about. That 1 retreat cost is absolutely crucial. Look at this. We run X speeds, but like we don't have a lot of good targets for them. But now with an Omanyte, we're just gonna start getting them. They've been blizzarded, you know what I mean? And now they need Hypno to hit those coin flips, or the Mewtwo goes down. Meanwhile, we can start building up our second Articuno EX, all for the price of literally Omanyte existing. Wait, what flare were you missing, ELA? They're X-speeding out a Mewtwo EX. That's insanity. That's insanity. They're just gonna let me beat stuff up. Problem. That Mewtwo EX comes back in now, yes? Am I actually meant to wait a turn here? Is my job here to wait a turn and not knock out that Drowsy? I think it is. I think my job is to not knock out that Drowsy. That's a double retreat cost right there. And I want to be able to, for sure, revenge kill the Mewtwo if it comes in. There it is. Okay, this could accelerate my timeline significantly, or ultimately not really matter. Ultimately not really matter. Acceptable. So now, if I'm not mistaken, unless they have 2 potions in hand, which it's not impossible that they do. That's not a potion. So now I have 2 cards. That's not a potion. We're done here. I mean, I guess they can retreat it out again. Like, that won't work. Omanyte clutched this, for the record. Omanyte absolutely clutched this. What Omanyte does? That is what Omanyte does. He does clutch these things. That 1 retreat cost is honestly so disgusting.